Hi everybody, welcome to the latest episode of the SCU Show. I'm your host SCU. This is episode number 50, the coup de grace. We finally made to the halfway point of reaching 100 episodes. I do apologize for those that thought this would be a live episode. Unfortunately, life happens and a lot of things have happened recently and things are still in the works. But we are still doing episode 50 and it's been a couple weeks since I've been on, unfortunately, because again, life, indoor dining opening up, and I work at an indoor restaurant, so I guess you understand when it comes to that. But we wanted to do a show, of course. I wanted to do a show, of course, because episode 50 is a big milestone. I want to thank every one of you that has been watching or listening since episode number 1. Back in, it was almost a year ago we rebooted the podcast, since we took off a few years. So I just again want to thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening these last few years. And we want to get started with the NBA talk. We're going to talk about the NBA to start off today's show. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. What did I tell you, everybody? I've been telling everybody, my guys at ITA know. They kept telling me how right I was. Milwaukee Bucks are overrated. And guess what? They got swept. They lost in 5 to the Miami Heat in the East Conference semis. Yep, I called it. I told you Bucks were not going to make it out of the first round. I had the Heat winning this series, and I was right, of course. And now I was going to come on here and talk about how, Giannis is gone. He's going to go elsewhere. He might go to the Warriors or the Lakers or even the Heat, or I've seen Toronto in the works. And then I saw a quote last night before I went to bed. It said Giannis wanted to keep playing in Milwaukee, and I'm like, why would you want to keep playing in Milwaukee? What is so special about Milwaukee? It's kind of like the Aaron Rodgers situation. The way I see it, it's kind of like Aaron Rodgers' situation, where Aaron Rodgers has nothing to work with. Why would he want to stay in Green Bay? But at least Aaron Rodgers admits, it's no. They got a quarterback, and my time's not going to end here. I think Giannis needs to do the same. He needs to admit that his time in Milwaukee has come to an end. But yesterday there was a quote. He said it's not going to happen. He's going to stay in Milwaukee. He's going to make more on the max contract with Milwaukee than he would anywhere else. But still, I do believe that it would be smarter for him to go elsewhere, because he's not going to win. He's not going to win if he stays in Milwaukee. There's no point in him staying there. He would, Chris Middleton. He's an okay number 2. He's stepped up in a few playoff games. Yesterday he went 8 for 25. This podcast we're recording on Wednesday. He went 8 for 25 from the field. This is lowest in his career. He missed 17 shots, the most he's ever missed in his career in a game. So you're gonna hope that he can do better. I don't see it. I don't know what Giannis sees. Obviously, he sees something else, but I don't see that. I don't see why he would want to stay in Milwaukee. I think he's gone. I think he will eventually come to his senses. I don't think he stays. I really don't. I think that his time in Milwaukee is up. He's done. He's going to go elsewhere. He has played his final game in Milwaukee. Of course, he did not play Game 5, and that's probably one of the reasons they lost that. And, Chris Middleton again, 7 for 25 from the field. But the Miami Heat move on. Giannis has possibly played his last game in Milwaukee. I would believe he has played his last game in Milwaukee, despite what he says. And it's going to be a very interesting free agency period, which begins in October, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see what happens. Don't believe Giannis will stay. I don't believe he should stay. He says, there's no way I'm leaving Milwaukee. Okay, well, if he does, it's kind of like Aaron Rodgers, both in Wisconsin. Giannis, if you decide to stay in Milwaukee, good luck, bud, because you're going to be a crapshoot. You're going to be like LeBron James without a good number 2. And it's just really not, it would not be a smart choice to stay in Milwaukee. I would go elsewhere if I'm Giannis. And let's switch gears here to the Miami Heat, because the Heat are something special. This is no team to be messed with. I know everybody's talking about it, how the Heat, they swept this. Who did they? They swept the Pacers, and that's a talented team. We talk about how they just beat the Bucks in 5, but they swept the Pacers, who had T.J. Warren, who was looking to be an MVP candidate in the bubble. He was looking very good. No match for the Heat, not at all. Also, they just beat the number 1 seeded Milwaukee Bucks. So there's that too. So it's a very talented Heat team down there. I believe everybody believes that the Heat are so very talented. Obviously, they're in the East Conference Finals. They just beat the number 1 seed. They swept the talented Pacers team. It's just a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot of good stuff for Miami there right now. Jimmy Butler's working out. Tyler Herro, everybody loves Tyler Herro, the rookie I believe he's from Kentucky. He's done very well. The whole team has just really come together in this playoffs and in this season. And it's crazy because everyone had doubted Jimmy Butler before. Everyone was like, oh, Jimmy Butler's a cancer and all this other stuff, and Jimmy Butler's a problem. Well, he doesn't seem like a problem now. Neither do Heat. Well, the Heat do seem like a problem, but Jimmy Butler doesn't seem to be one. He seems to be working out very well in Miami. They will play the Raptors or the Celtics, one of those two teams. And speaking of those two teams, we talk about that as we talk about how the Heat could be favorites to win the East this year. I mean, Boston beat the Nets. Boston swept the Sixers. I predicted that, by the way. I was right on that. They swept the Sixers. That team is an absolute crapshoot. That is a crapshoot of team. Philadelphia, no Joel Embiid. Ben Simmons was out. Well, Ben Simmons was out. Joel Embiid was not playing his best, and they swept. They got swept. That's a terrible team in Philadelphia, and Boston obviously should have swept them in the first place. And then you have Toronto, who swept the Nets. Well, the Nets did look very talented. They were without all their stars. No Spencer Dinwiddie, obviously no Kyrie, and obviously no KD. They didn't have anybody. And therefore, it was kind of like, all right, obviously the Raptors are going to sweep the Nets because the Nets are not that of a talented team. Meanwhile, now you have the Celtics and Raptors going up against one another. They're literally just butting heads. The Celtics went up 2-0. The Raptors have won two in a row since just recording this podcast. And I would put money on it. I'm not going to, but I would. That the Heat could be either one of these in the Eastern Conference Finals. They could get to the NBA Finals. And then you look at that. If the Heat do get to the NBA Finals, could they win it all? Yeah, I definitely think so. LeBron and the Lakers, they're not looking so well. Yes, they won their series against the Blazers in 5. Damian Lillard was out. Yeah, he missed game. I think he just game 5, might have been more. And then they just lost game 1 to Houston. They did tie the series up. No, they have the series lead actually now. I keep you updated. They have the series lead right now, and they do look good. But when it comes to I think the Clippers will beat the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. But the Clippers also look like a difficult team. They're not losing. They're down. They're struggling against the Nuggets. Well, I didn't even think the Nuggets would get this far. I thought they would lose to the Jazz in the first round. They were down 3-1 to the Jazz. They came back, and now they're giving the Clippers trouble. So it's like, who is going to beat the Heat? The Heat have had no troubles in the playoffs so far. They've beaten the two teams they've faced, the Pacers and then the Bucks. They've won their games, 8-1? They played 9 games, 8-1. 8-1 they are. So don't count the Heat out when it comes to the postseason. I'm just saying that's going to be a very interesting team. I can't wait for that series, whoever they play, whether it be the Raptors, or the Celtics. It's going to be a hell of a series. All right, so now we're done with that. Tomorrow, this podcast will come out today on a Wednesday. Tomorrow, the NFL season will kick off in Kansas City with the Chiefs hosting the Texans. And speaking of the Chiefs, let's talk about the AFC West, our final preview. We've previewed every team. Every division, excuse me. We previewed every division. Now it's time to wrap it up with the AFC West. So we talked about Kansas City. I talked about it right after the Super Bowl. The Kansas City was the next dynasty. I'm sort of sticking to that. I do have them repeating as champions this year. I don't know about if they'll keep going because Denver and Chargers and the Raiders are all building something. But there's something to talk about when it comes to that as well. And this is why the Chiefs will probably win the AFC West by a more comfortable lead than they already have right now. Broncos just lost Von Miller yesterday. He's done for the season. And Derwin James is also out for the season for the Chargers. Another big loss for that defense. While they do have a great defense, I love the Chargers and everything they have. Derwin James is a really big loss for them. So I think that really just knocks them out of the division race. And in Denver, your top defensive guy is Von Miller. He's out for the season. Yes, you had Bradley Chubb. He's going to do well. But I don't think he's a Von Miller. I don't think he's going to be, a spectacular guy. He's going to do anything great, really. You also have, they've got A.J. Boye. They have a talented offense. I put money on Drew Lock. I'm putting confidence in Drew Lock. I'm not putting money on Drew Lock. I'm betting on Drew Lock that he's going to have a great season as well. But, again, Von Miller, this is a big loss for Denver. And then there's the Raiders. The Raiders are, I think that they should start Marcus Mariota as quarterback. I don't think they've made him a starting quarterback yet. I'm not sure. I don't think they have. But I do think they should start Marcus Mariota. I do feel like he would give the Raiders a better chance of winning. And that's that. But as far as everything else goes, I think the Chiefs have wrapped up the division already. They'll win by at least 2 games at this point because the Chargers and the Broncos, who both would have competed with all their full roster, have now lost two of their star defensive players, Derwin James and Von Miller, respectively. And so, wrap up the division for the Chiefs. Once again, 2019, Patrick Mahomes win his third division title in 3 years. All right, so here's something else about the NFL. As we talk a little bit about the NFL. So I was looking at the starting quarterbacks. Who's going to start? Cam's going to start in New England. Okay, that's fine. Obviously Brian Hoyer isn't as talented as Cam, or Belichick loves Cam. He really does. If you've seen all the things Belichick has said about Cam lately, it's crazy. You also have, let's see. All right, let's get to it. The Bears. Good Lord Almighty, Chicago, what the hell are you doing? I'm sitting here, I'm telling everybody Nick Foles is going to be the Week 1 starter. There's no question about it. They're going to start Nick Foles Week 1 against Detroit. Lo and behold, they're starting Mitch Trubisky. Why? Seriously. Everybody's talking about this now. That Mitch Trubisky is going to start for the Bears Week 1. And nobody can make sense of it. It makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to anybody. I don't get it. Why are you starting Mitch Trubisky? What is the point? Mitch Trubisky is a bust. There's no question about it. Oh, he went 8-7 last year as a starter. He hasn't won a damn thing. Not even a play. He hasn't won a playoff game. It's all about that Cody Parkley knocked it out. He had one good season. They went 11-5. Other than that, he's an absolute crapshoot. Everybody agrees that he is a bust. The Bears wasted a pick. They traded up for San Francisco to go get him, I think. They traded with somebody. Might not have been San Francisco, but they traded up for the number 2 spot to get Trubisky. And they just need to swallow this pill. They just need to realize they messed up. It's not a good look. And now they're going to start Mitch Trubisky. What? Over Nick Foles. And I am probably one of only 2 people, the other one being Todd Mintz, who will argue in the case of Nick Foles. Because Nick Foles went 27 touchdowns, 2 picks, 2013. They started 6-2 under Foles in 2014 until he broke his collarbone. Mark Sanchez took over. They missed the playoffs. He took the Eagles after Carson Wentz got hurt. MVP season. He didn't finish the season. He didn't win MVP. Took the Eagles to the Super Bowl. Dominated the all-powerful Vikings defense in the NFC Championship game. Duel Tom Brady. Won MVP of the Super Bowl. Came back the next year when the Eagles were 5-6 under Carson Wentz. And went 6-1 as a starter and was an Alshon Jeffrey Butterfingers play against the Saints away from the NFC Championship game for the second consecutive season. I don't want to hear any more from anybody about Nick Foles being trash, because he is absolutely not trash. He's one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league, and you can write that down, book it. Nick Foles is one of the most talented quarterbacks right now in the NFL, and there's no question. The Bears, like the Jaguars, are just so... I don't even know the word to think about it. I don't want to say stupid. They're just foolish, I guess would be the word. They're foolish in starting Mitch Trubisky. And I'm telling you, I can't wait for the Bears and that lackluster team that they have and their bust of a quarterback to start 0-7. And Nick Foles finally gets them, he finally takes over from Mitch Trubisky and he goes 8-8. They may not be a playoff team, but it'll show everybody that the Bears made a mistake taking Mitch Trubisky to start for them Week 1 over Nick Foles. And that's all I have to say on that, because it's ridiculous. You got to start Mitch Trubisky, who you have to swallow that pill. GM Ryan Pace has to swallow this pill where he's a bust. There's no other way around it. He's a bust, and you're still going to start him. Everybody's talking about his footwork. That's what Matt Nagy was talking about. Oh, he has great footwork. Nobody cares about his footwork. It's about, can he throw the ball? Who's he going to throw to? A bunch of nobodies. I think their top guy receiver is a tight end. I forget his name, but I think he's a rookie, out of Notre Dame. And really, again, Bears, you have to swallow this pill. You effed up. You could have... you should have started Nick Foles. There's just no way around it. You screwed up. Swallow the pill, take the L, and put Nick Foles under center. All right. So you guys remember this from last year? If you watched the show, you watch so often, you do know about the SCU Sizzling Seven. I was going to rank all 32 teams, but who has time for that, right? I'll just do what I did last year, and this is year number 2 of the SCU Sizzling 7. So here we go. At number 7, we're going to put Green Bay in number 7. I did say that Green Bay was not going to be a playoff team, but that's only because Minnesota is going to win the NFC North in my eyes. The Packers do have a talented team. They do have Aaron Rodgers. They have Devontae Adams. They have Aaron Jones is a really talented running back. And they also have a great defensive line with the Smith twins, Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith. Very talented defensive line right there. So, Green Bay is a pretty talented team. I just don't think it's good enough to make the playoffs. Green Bay, number 7. Number 6, Minnesota, the winners of the NFC North. I love everything the Vikings have. I have a feeling I think he's going to be a great number 1, replacing Stephon Diggs. I'm hoping big things out of Justin Jefferson, the rookie out of LSU, almost said Minnesota. The rookie out of LSU. I hope big things for him. Hopefully Dalvin Cook can be Dalvin Cook, the one we all know and love. Because, he had a pretty good season last year. Hoping to repeat that, maybe do better. He could do better. I know he can do better. And so, Minnesota, number 6. Number 5, I'm putting Dallas. Everyone's going to be like, oh, you're biased against you love the Cowboys still. No. Dallas has a very talented team around them. They replaced Travis Frederick with a rookie out of Wisconsin, who everybody loves. They have 3 receivers now. And plus Blake Jarwin, I'll add him in there, the tight end. They have CeeDee Lamb, who's going to be one of the best rookies this season. They have Amari Cooper, who they just paid big money, is going to have a big season as well. And they have Michael Gallup, who's going to be a great number 2 or 3, depending on what happens with CeeDee Lamb. And so, again, Dallas, very talented team. They have them number 5 on the SCU Sizzling 7. Number 4, New Orleans. I love the Saints. I love what they have. This might be Drew Brees' last year, and if it is, I hope he goes out with a bang, with a Super Bowl title. I don't think he will, but one can hope. They're, as of recording this podcast, they are looking to re-sign Alvin Kamara to a big deal after he held out for a little bit. Smart move by the Saints. He's a very talented running back and a great pass catcher as well out of the backfield. Michael Thomas, obviously, and I said it on the previous podcast. I think the last podcast I said it. Emmanuel Sanders is going to be such a big piece to that Saints offense. Saints offense. He's going to be number 2, obviously, to Michael Thomas, but he's going to be probably the best number 2 in the NFL. I'm putting money. I'm putting that down. Writing that down. I think Emmanuel Sanders, best number 2 in the league in 2020. Saints at number 4. Number 3, Tampa. I do have a little concern about Tom Brady with his receivers and everything. I don't know how it's all going to work out year 1. I'm hoping, obviously, everybody's hoping it works out the way everybody hopes, plans, whatever. But I don't think they win the division. I think they get into a playoff spot as a wild card team because I do think New Orleans wins the South. But Tampa Bay's going to be right on their ass from week 1, which, by the way, the Saints host the Bucs. I think the Saints win that game. But Bucs at number 3 on the SCU Sizzling 7. Number 2, we go to the Chiefs, the defending Super Bowl champions, Patrick Mahomes. I was not impressed as much as I should have been. I said after the season he won MVP and they lost the AFC Championship game, I said he was going to have about 33 touchdown passes. I think he had 28. So really that was kind of a down number for him. I'm hoping for more of him. He just got a 10-year deal, $503 million. Biggest contract ever. So really hoping that Mahomes goes over 30 this year. At least, I'm hoping over 40, but at least he has to go to over 30 if he wants to take the Chiefs anywhere. Chiefs at number 2 on the SCU Sizzling 7. And number 1 is Baltimore. Baltimore is such a talented team. I don't think they have a piece that's missing. They got rid of the piece that they thought they needed, but obviously is more trouble than he's worth. That's Earl Thomas. So there's that. Lamar Jackson needs to go to 36 touchdowns. He needs to do better as a quarterback. He could run as much as he wants. It's great. I do love the fact that he runs. I loved it at Louisville. I love it now. I'm going to love it during the season. I just need him to go over 36 touchdowns, and it'd show what kind of quarterback he really is. We need to see more than 36 touchdowns through the year. Especially if you're going to be MVP. If you want to try and repeat as MVP, you got to do more than 36 touchdown passes. Just saying. And with that, we are done. I again apologize for this not being a live episode of the SCU Show, but it's episode number 50 regardless. Stay tuned. We do have things in the works. Hopefully a new studio very soon. By next month. I was supposed to move into a room this month, but unfortunately the guy sold it after he said I never got back to him after just a few days. But anyway, I digress. Hopefully to find something else here soon. We can have a new studio, and hopefully there's things work out in life. But this is it for this episode. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, everybody. This has been episode number 50 of the SCU Show.